In this video, we'll finish thinning out the main harness wires that won't be used in the Goblin. You might have already cut the fuel pump wires during the donor stripping process. If not, cut the large gray, small tan, and purple wires now. Tie these 3 wires in a knot to mark them and pull them through the harness. Drape them over the fuse box to be used later. Next, cut the large black fuel pump ground and set it aside. Remove the rest of the fuel system wires by tracing them through the harness and cutting them out. If your donor had an XM radio, you can cut that connector out. Cut the wires one at a time and remove them from the harness. You can leave the black ground wire behind. Next, find the passenger taillight connector. You'll reuse these wires in your Goblin, but you do not need the connector. One at a time, cut the wires near the taillight connector and pull them through the harness. Do not cut any of these wires on the other end. Leave them attached to the harness. You can leave the black wire where it is. It will be dealt with later. Remove the side marker light connector, but do not remove the wires. Pull the brown wire back to the tape union and leave the black wire alone. One at a time, cut and trace the headliner wires to remove them. A few of the wires will go to 2 nearby white connectors. These wires can be left alone because these connectors will all come out together. The bigger white connector is a VCIM connector. Cut and remove the wires that go from this connector to the main harness. One of the VCIM wires will go to the trunk light connector. Cut this wire to remove the headliner and white connectors. On the remaining trunk light wire, you'll find a large section wrapped in tape. This is the trunk release diode. Trace the wire past the diode until you get to a small taped union. Cut the wire at this union. Next, find the trunk release connector. Remove the connector and thin out all of these wires except for the black ground. Find the subwoofer connector. Trace the wires through the main harness as shown. Cut the wires at the large body to dash connector and discard the whole bundle. The black VCIM connector can be removed next. Cut and thin out all of the wires of this connector. Find the rear window defroster connector. You do not need to cut near the connector, just work the wire through the harness and cut it near the large gray multiplug. Next is the driver taillight connector. You won't need to keep this connector, but you will need the wires. Cut the wires near the taillight connector and pull them through the harness, but do not cut the other end. You can leave the black ground wire where it is. Repeat the process for the side marker light and license plate light. Pull the brown wires through the harness and leave the black wires alone. Next, find the backup lamp connectors. They will be identical connectors with green and black wires. Cut the backup lamp wires at the connectors and trace the green wires to the small taped union. Cut on the other side of the taped union to remove the backup lamp wires. Pull the single green wire through the harness, but do not cut it out. Leave the black wires where they are. Both of the rear speaker wires should be removed next. Cut the wires near the connector and remove them from the harness. The center high mounted stoplight connector should be treated like the taillight connectors. Remove the connector and trace the blue wire through the harness, but do not remove the wire. Find one of the copper lugs that is no longer connected to the main harness. Untangle all of the ground wires attached to this lug and roll it up to be used later. Repeat this process for the other copper ground lug. These two ground lugs are the only two that need to be rolled up. Find and trace the large red power wire back to the red VCIM multiplug. Measure 12 inches back from the multiplug and cut the red wire. On the other end of the red wire, cut 16 inches from the 50 amp fuse. Save the 50 amp fuse section. Roll up the long red wire and save it for later. At this point, the main harness is completely thinned out. In the next video, we'll start to organize the main harness to fit the Goblin. Subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to get notified when our new videos go live. If you have any questions, send us an email, give us a call, or join our forum. Thanks for watching.